Hello, hi, I am the official Carla Lorraine, and I am here today doing part two of the Celebrity Big Brother season three. Okay, so let me get some things together. First of all, let me let you know that these thoughts and opinions are my own, and they were my opinions and thoughts as I was watching the show. As I was watching and I was taking notes. So I'm recording um, my original thoughts and my thought processes and things of that nature. And Celebrity Big Brother season three is owned by CBS, Paramount, and whatever affiliate companies that they reside in and under, and not myself. And I was being a little extra, but anyway, that's real. Like, they're my opinions. These were my thoughts when I was watching originally. And although I've seen them all now, I've seen it, but I'm still going to go through it as I was thinking along the way. So because that's just the way it should be. I think to make it authentic. Anyway, I'm gonna put my cash out and stuff down there at the bottom in case you wanna donate. I would appreciate it. And ooh, please, please don't forget to like and subscribe and to turn on your notifications if you want to be notified whenever I upload something. And please comment something down below. Let me know your comments, your opinions, whether you disagree, whether you agree, whether you have different ideas, or whether you was thinking something different, like whatever. Whether you watched the show or not, what I would like to know what you think. And that's my cash app down there, official Carla Lorraine, without the E at the end because there's no space, there's not enough room. Anyway, I have this. Okay, two things. The first video, I said I was gonna do one video, so straight long form video. I got tired. I could not do the whole thing at once. This is why I'm splitting them up now. I'm splitting them up. I can't do one whole long one. I was getting so tired. If you saw the ending of the last one, you can tell probably. I was done at the end. I was like, I'm tired of I needed to take a break. I needed a rest. Okay, so I'm back. And so they're not gonna be it's not gonna be one long video, obviously, because now we're in part two. So that's one. Number two is I do have a a display, but my face and stuff is in front of it, and I want to show you guys that um that as well, because I want you to be able to see the pictures, the picture of the people or whatever, like my thing, like I want to show you. But I'm trying to see how to do it without making a mess of things. I might not be able to, but it is the thumbnail. So there's that. Okay, so it's the thumbnail and it has all of the pictures of all the people in the house. And then it has the ex of who got evicted. Okay, well, the last. Okay, so let me see. Let me see. So we left off at we left off. So it might be a spoiler because we left off. Oh yeah, it definitely is a spoiler. Ooh, that probably won't be the thumbnail. I might put it in at the end or put it in somewhere up in here because I can't put that as the thumbnail because that's like a spoiler because the eviction hasn't happened where I'm at right now. Okay, so 3.5, episode 3.5, basically. I don't know exactly where at, but Carson won the veto. Okay, yay. Carson is on the block. Carson's on the block next to Mariah, right? Or next to Teddy. I don't remember. I don't. I don't remember. Okay. So Carson won. Okay, yeah. So of course he's going to be taking himself off the block, right? I mean, it would be dumb not to. It has happened in the past, in like regular Big Brothers, where people won the veto, didn't use it on themselves. Sometimes it was dumb. Sometimes it was purposeful to help, you know, their partner get along further. Like Jeff did it for Jordan. He was the veto on her, so and he went home. Like that happened. The twins back in like season 4 or 3, one used it on her sister instead of herself. Like, it happens. It has happened in the past, but I'm thinking Carson's going to use it on himself because most of the time that's what happens. You get the veto, you use it on yourself if you're on the block. Okay, so now Misha's in the DR reflecting on what Todrick told her and that Carson is an actual threat in the house. So she says to the DR that now that Carson won, she has to now think of a replacement nominee, which she more than likely will have to do. And so I was thinking that Misha would, well, in a normal game, she would have to do. I was thinking that Misha wouldn't have to do that because of the uh, Mon Juan hat and that 50 cents. The Cynthia Bailey had that Mon Juan purse, hat/purse that she was gifted with by the house guest. So I was thinking that Misha is hoping. Okay, so that I'm thinking that Cynthia's going to have a power because of the Mon Juan hat. Because I don't know if I mentioned this in the last episode, but I'm like, okay, Mon Juan is like Nom now. Okay, I thought that like from the beginning. Okay, I think I said it already in the first episode, the first, part 1. If I did it, I'm saying it now. Okay, it's gonna be a thing. So, okay, so Misha is hoping that her team is riding with her because she's figuring that now that she has to nominate someone else now because Carson is going to take himself off of the block, that she'll have to nominate someone else and that she'll end up with a bigger target on her back because at this point she's figured she's going to have nominated 25% of the house. Okay, and so then Mariah is hoping that whomever is put on the block with her is a bigger target. Okay, so yeah, it's Mariah and Carson on the block. Okay. So Mariah and Misha are in the HOH room. Mariah pleads for her life in the house and asks for a deal. Mariah tells Misha that if she stays, she won't put Misha on the block if Mariah becomes HOH for the next cycle. Which I say cycles because it's not weeks, it's 2 evictions per week because it's a shorter season because it's celebrity and they're not going to have them in for 3 months. Okay. They're not doing that. They don't do that. So, for the Celebrity Big Brother seasons. Okay, so they have 2 evictions per week. So I call them cycles. They might lie and call them weeks on the show. I don't remember. I don't pay attention to that because it's not real. It's not true. Okay, so anyway. So then Misha asks in turn, well, who will you put up if you're HOH next week? Whatever. And so, okay, so at this point, I paused the video and I wrote down that I wonder if Mariah thinks that Misha will have a say in how people vote regardless. Because I don't think Misha's opinion will really matter all that much. Um, but I've already been wrong in this review when I thought Todrick shouldn't or wouldn't take Misha too seriously, considering her brain like malfunctions all the time. So so back to the show. I unpaused, and so then I was okay. So then Misha tells Mariah that they need to know that they can trust each other and ask Mariah if she can trust her. And Mariah tells her, absolutely sure you can trust me. Misha tells her she would like to target Carson and that the Carsons, quote unquote, the Carsons win the game and that she needs to swear her loyalty to the Athletes Alliance. And so Mariah asks who Misha will put up next to her, and she says Chris Kattan. And she says because he doesn't seem to have many connections in the house and that no one will be very upset with him being put up. And I agree. No one will probably be too upset except maybe Todd. Because at that point, Todd may realize, that floaters, if Chris Kattan gets put up, then Todd may realize, oh shit, floaters are being put up and going home. And I'm like, well, unless he doesn't realize that he himself is a floater because he's not really playing the game and he probably is not paying attention. I don't know. I'm not certain, but I'm like, oh, well, Todd might, but he might not care. Okay. So then Todrick goes into the HOH room in his fabulously hot pink fluffy onesie. And then we see Misha in the DR. Okay. So Misha says in the DR, the most asinine thing. She says they need to strengthen the Athletes Alliance and that they are the only thing that can save Mariah because her back's up against the wall right now. And I'm like, excuse me, Miss Misha Kate, but didn't you put Mariah's back up against the wall by dragging her into your room and telling her your business without knowing in advance that she was already in the alliance and where her allegiances lie? Like, and now, and then getting upset and feeling betrayed when she told your plans to her alliance. You just told somebody all your shit. Okay, so it's like, okay, so you put her back against that wall that you're now trying to save her from. And I'm like, I wonder how many more targets she'll have before the eviction actually takes place. And she's trying to guarantee her loyalty by saving her. But she's the one who put her in danger in the first place. It's like, you put this girl in danger. You didn't think of her in the beginning. You doing athletes. You pulling in pop stars and shit. Like, there's a whole athlete sitting there. You tell her later, and you don't even, you just blurt it out, and you just tell her all your plans, and you pull her in. She already was in an alliance. Of course, you told her alliance. Whatever. Okay, so then Misha tells Todrick what she and Mariah were discussing, and she tells him Mariah's offer and says that she needs to that she's going to target Carson. That she needs to target Carson, and Todrick tells them he has a relationship with Carson and doesn't want Carson to ever feel betrayed by himself, by Todrick. So then the next scene is Shayna and Teddy in the storage room / pantry, and they're discussing who Misha may put up in Carson's place once he takes himself down. Again, no one seems to think that Cynthia will have that power of the Manwan, that the Manwan stands for something, you know, else. Um, there's not a play on words or letters or something. So nobody's thinking that, at least seemingly. No one seem no. It hasn't been it hasn't been put on the show that anyone's thinking that. Okay, so Teddy tells Shayna, that Misha told her it wouldn't be herself, but she's not sure. And Shayna tells her she doesn't really talk to Misha and has no idea what she's thinking about due to the lack of communication. So Shayna tells the Dior that she knows that Teddy has a deal with Misha, that Cynthia has a button on the Monwan hat and or purse, and Todrick and Misha are super close. So the only one left from the formation alliance for Misha to target is herself, and that she needs to do some smooching. So Shayna's thinking that she is in danger. No, yeah. So Shannon's thinking that she's in danger, right? So Shannon goes to the HOH room and tells Misha that she's willing to work with Misha and go whatever way she wants her to. Shayna also tells Misha that the formation is really no longer, and no one was really working together in it. And then she names each of the people in that alliance. And Misha says, okay, she says, well, I need to know that I could trust you, that we could trust each other. And Shannon tells her that she'll be her plant and she'll go to the formation and go in the house and go and get and gather information and bring it to Misha. So, okay. In a regular game, I would think Shayna is lying and Misha would be dumb to believe her. But in this game, in this season, I think Shayna and Misha both mean what they say and are not just, they're probably just both not that smart when it comes to how this game is played. Like, you can lie, you can backstab, it's whatever. Like, I don't think that they know. And they're just being trying to be face value. So Todrick plans to get Teddy on the block. Okay, so Todrick, my bad. Todrick plans to get Teddy on the block by manipulating Misha. Uh, Carson and Teddy are close, so he figures getting Teddy out will weaken Carson. And Todrick says that Teddy will be fine. She'll go home to her kid and her gorgeous, rich husband. And he's like, it's no biggie. That's what he says. He says she'll go home to her kid and her gorgeous husband, no biggie, whatever. So Todrick tells Misha this, and he tells Misha if Misha were a gay man, he'd marry her. That she's the first girl he's ever had a crush on. And I'm like, oh damn, look at his eyes. It seemed like he believed like it was true. And I'm like, well, if I don't believe that. But I'm like, but at least he admires her or something within her. But anyway, Misha tells Teddy that Misha tells Teddy that there was a line drawn in the sand and she's on the other side. And Teddy says that she gave her word and she just doesn't want to go home first. And that she trusted her, as a fellow mother. And it's a mess. It's just a big old freaking mess. Anyway, hopefully Cynthia will have a power because of that purse slash hat, and and that she'll be able to nominate whoever goes up, and that she will not nominate Teddy, and leave her one more week, at least to see Misha squirm a little. That's what I'm hoping and thinking. And I'm like, ooh, and if Teddy wins the next HOH, that would be sweet because that's gonna think just railroad her. Like I just think that it was just, bad. Anyway, okay, so it's the veto meeting. Carson takes himself off the block. Shocker. And of course he did. So Misha gets up to do her replacement nomination. And I paused here when I was watching because I was bracing myself and I was just hoping that a voice would come over the PA or on the screen in the in the living room with them or something to stop her before she names the person to go up. And I was hoping that voice or video or something would be like Julie or something saying, no, Cynthia, get to give Cynthia the floor. Like, Cynthia, you have the floor. The Mon Juan hat, yada, yada, yada. I hope at that point. Okay. So then I unpaused and I kept watching. Nope. That did not happen. It did not happen. Misha named Teddy as a replacement and the veto meeting was adjourned. And I was disappointed. Okay, but Carson was not happy about the replacement. There's still 31 minutes left in the episode at this point. Okay. Okay. So then Lamar and Mariah are having, because I'm like, I told y'all that these episodes, they have a lot of commercials. Anyway, it's whatever. So then Lamar and Mariah have a discussion about race and racism and equality. Okay. Mariah expresses how children are taught racism, and it's up to her generation to educate that we are all the same, and that and that we're all the same, okay, and that she recently learned that blacks weren't at one point weren't allowed to skate, and she reflected that Asians probably weren't either. And Lamar said that because Lamar also played he was also in the Olympics, for basketball. And Lamar said he loved being able to play in the Olympics and represent the country. But as a representative, he would have liked the country to represent him as well. That it be reciprocated. Like, I'm representing the country. It'd be nice if they represented me too. But we're still patriots, So Cynthia and Carson go into a bedroom together, not happy. Teddy comes in. So they start counting the votes that they could get. Carson figures they can get Carson himself, Cynthia, Chris Kirkpatrick, and possibly Chris Kattan. And Cynthia states Todd may not be decided yet, and Lamar would listen to Todd. So they could get Todd. Then they have Lamar. So Teddy's campaign is then shown. Teddy and Todd talk, and Todd tells Teddy that he's up in the air. Todd Bridges, he's up in the air in regards to how he'll vote. So Chris Kattan tells Teddy that she has his vote, that he'll vote for her. And Lamar says nothing. Okay, he doesn't. When she goes to him, he says nothing. And Teddy tells him that the vote comes down to him. And he says, well, how do you know that? And she said, well, I counted. And he walks away saying, oh, well, that makes sense. And he still didn't give her an answer. He didn't say yay or nay or anything. And so Teddy says that it comes down to the Mon Juan. Okay, that hat / purse. So then the live portion of the show starts, and Julie goes to them on the couch, and they're all dolled up and stuff. And she says that she will tell them that the Mon Juan hat is out of fashion. And so I'm sitting there, because she tells that to the audience. She says she's going to tell them that. She says she's going to, and so I'm wondering if the hat is going to be passed around again. And so then Julie does. Julie tells them that the clue to the Mon Juan curse has been right under their nose the whole time. She says the logo on the hat is Velcroed on. And she says, remove it and turn it upside down. Now it says Nam now. And they all look shocked. And I'm just like sitting there, I'm looking shocked like that they didn't realize this or didn't know. I'm just sitting like, do any of their brains work? And I'm like, so now my head is reeling. And since Cynthia didn't get the power, I thought that she would. And I'm thinking that the hat would be passed around again, and the last person with the hat would be an automatic nominee, and they would remove either Mariah or Teddy from the block, and then immediately replace them. And that is actually what happened. And I'm like, I didn't know how they didn't figure that out. And the twist was a little different from what I originally thought it would be, but I had the correct premise for certain. Um, so so Cynthia passed it to had to pass it to someone not nominated and not the HOH. All the eligible players had to stand up. So everybody stands up who's not the HOH, so it's not Misha and not the eligible, not the nominated. So not Teddy, not Mariah. Okay, so everybody else stands up. So Cynthia gives it to Shayna. Shayna gives it to Chris Kirkpatrick. Chris Kirkpatrick gives it to Todrick. So now we know that these people are not nominated, right? You give it to somebody who's not nominated. The last person to get it is nominated, as opposed to the first time the last person to get it is safe, right? Cynthia was safe, and this last person to get it this time will be nominated automatically. Okay, so Cynthia gives it to Shayna. Shayna gives it to Chris Kirkpatrick. Chris Kirkpatrick gives it to Todrick Hall. Todrick gives it to Chris Kattan. Chris Kattan, him getting it blows up Misha's plan because Misha wanted Chris Kattan to go on the block. That was her target. And so Chris Kattan gives it to Lamar. And Todd is last. He's the odd man out. And Todd goes on the block. Todd Bridges goes on the block. And so Todd takes Mariah off and he sits next to Teddy. Okay. I must say, I'm kind of shocked. I was shocked that Chris Kattan put Todd on the block. Um, it was closer than that. I think Chris Kirkpatrick. I think okay. So no, I was shocked that Chris Kattan put Todd Bridges on the block. I thought they were friendlier than that. Okay, so I think that friendship was more one way than it was two ways. Anyway, looking back on it now, but maybe not. Anyway, I think Chris Kirkpatrick figured out the twist to the Mom Juan hat. Chris Kirkpatrick is a fan of Big Brother, so I was like, I can't imagine that I'm not the only one who realized this. I can't be, and I know that I wasn't. I cannot have been. I haven't watched anybody else's like um takes on the season, the recaps, the reviews of this stuff. I don't know what they said. I don't know if it was like well known. I didn't, like I said, I watched it late this season, and I binge watched it. I watched it in 1.5, 2 days. There's no way that Chris Kirkpatrick was sitting in the house and did not, as a super fan, did not realize that this was something. I want like the words. He's a writer. He writes like there's like he had to have, and he just didn't say it or they didn't edit it in. He had to either he didn't verbalize it and vocalize it. He had to have thought it. Like there's no way. I can't imagine that there is any way that he didn't think of this. Like anyway, that's what I'm thinking. I know that I spoke to my cousin about it. She said that she didn't figure it out, and she is smart, but she's a math person. I'm an English person, so I can understand how she wouldn't have seen it because she thinks more in numbers. I think more in letters and words. Chris Kirkpatrick probably thinks in letters and words and numbers because the timing of the music it was math, and then words. He writes songs. That's what he does. So he's a writer. Anyway. That's that. That was a tangent. I think that he was faking the funk. Because I could figure it out in, a day. Why couldn't he figure it out while he's actually in the house and and he's a super fan. Anyway, and he wasn't involved in any of that drama. See, if he was involved in all that drama, I could understand his mind was elsewhere, whatever, but he wasn't. So anyway, that's that. Let me see. So Todd says, their speeches. Okay, so Todd says, do what you gotta do. That was his speech. And Teddy asks, not to be backdoored. And I'm like, okay, you don't know what being backdoored means. You don't watch the show. You don't watch the show. Oh well, yeah, that would be backdoored because she wasn't originally on the block. Mariah was on the block. Anyway, she asked not to be backdoored. Okay, so then the live voting is gonna happen. And Misha will only vote in case of a tie. And they vote who to evict. So Lamar votes to evict Teddy. Chris Kattan votes to evict Todd. Ouch. And I wonder if Todd thinks they're friends. I wonder in this again, like, he done put you on the block. And do you think he's your friend? Okay, so Chris Kattan goes back into the living room after voting to evict Todd. And he wasn't sure what he's supposed to do. It's just standing around looking around like, oh, what do I do? And they're like, sit down. You can sit back down. And so I'm like, okay, he's definitely never watched the show. And you already know how, when he first walked in, he was like, who's going to show me my bed? Where am I supposed to sleep? Like, that was funny. Like the entitlement of it all. Like, it was hilarious. It was funny. It's funny watching people be like oblivious to like real social shit, like real life. You go find your own damn bed. You carry your own fucking luggage. What are you doing? I mean, they didn't. They don't. They bring the luggage and they just bring this one little bag. But it was funny. It was funny to me. Okay. Um, Todrick votes to evict Teddy, which is smart for his game. Cynthia votes to evict Todd. Chris Kirkpatrick goes into the diary room next, and Julie reminds us that he is aligned with Misha in the Athletes Alliance, which to me is a joke right now because it seems to me that that is formation part two. Anyway, he votes to evict Teddy. Carson votes to evict Todd. Mariah votes to evict Teddy, and I didn't really see that coming. But it stops the drama for that scenario next time. I don't know why I wrote that, but that's what I wrote. Shayden votes to evict Teddy, and I wrote, "Wow, her alliance turned on her." Shayna voted. Okay, so there's 5-3. Teddy is out. So the recap is Chris Kattan, Cynthia Bailey, and Carson Kressley voted to keep Teddy Mellencamp. Okay, so Teddy exits the house and goes to talk with Julie Chen Moonves. And Teddy tells Julie that she feels kind of good that the house thought she was a threat enough to try to get her out. And Julie asks who she feels most betrayed by, and Teddy says she felt betrayed by Todrick because he was originally in her alliance holding her hand at night while he was conspiring against her in a whole other alliance. And Teddy said that she had a feeling that Shayna was going to flip on her. But Teddy says also that she thinks the best game player is Lamar or either Chris Kattan, who's sleeping his way through it. And she laughs like that's okay. So she's like, Chris Kattan because he's sleeping his way through. Okay. So that is the end of episode 3. Okay. Season 3, episode 3. That's the end of that. So I'm going to take a little break. And I'll be back with episode 4. And you probably won't see very much of a difference because I'm going to edit my breakout. Okay. All right. Hello, I am back. Okay, so that probably wasn't, excuse me, a big break for you. Hopefully, I edited it well enough where you didn't really see that much of a break in between, and you saw the graphic that I put together for you. showing the house guests and showing Teddy got evicted. All right, so moving back, going back to it, we are of Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother, season 3, episode 4. Okay, so their episode begins with the recap with the guy, the narrator. This is what happened last, yada yada, all that. You already know all that. So the episode begins after the recap with them showing Teddy's picture turning black and white on the memory wall, and Mariah being excited that she's still in the house, and and she compares Mariah compares staying in the house to winning the Olympics, and I was sitting there like, really? It feels as good as winning the Olympics? I've won some things, and I don't know. Maybe I don't think that would make me feel as good. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Um, Maybe it did. I mean, there's a euphoria. There is a there is a there is something that happens in your body when when things happen. So yeah, your things get released and all that. And I'm not going to get into the science of all that, but yeah, yeah, the same dopamines and stuff like that go happen. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, I'm pretty yeah okay, okay. All right, I give it to you. Okay, I give it to you. Okay, so then Todd is upset. Todd Bridges is upset that Chris Kattan put him on the block via giving him the nom now hat slash purse. Okay, I would be upset too, especially because Todd chose to be in his room. Like he was like, I want to be with Chris Kattan, and then someone who you think is your friend puts you on the block. Like, what is wrong? Like, they're not playing. Chris Kattan is not. He doesn't. I don't think he understands the game at all. Anyway, but it's still. You should understand that part, right? Anyway, Carson tells the DR that he liked to take down. That he liked to. He wants to take down Misha. He's going to target. He wants her out. He was going to take her down. And Cynthia is upset that Teddy didn't get more votes, and that Carson and okay, so let me go back up. Cynthia is upset that Teddy didn't get more votes, and Carson realizes that the formation is no longer formed; it's deformed. Okay, so then Shanna or Shayna however you pronounce it, um tells Cynthia and Carson that she went with the house on the voting because Teddy didn't have the numbers anyway. Okay, so she's telling them this like, well, I went with the house. I voted with the house, and I'm sitting here wondering, well, why didn't Shayna tell? Why didn't she feel obligated to let Carson and Cynthia know that she was going to switch her vote and vote that way before she changed her mind, or when she was changing her mind before she actually voted? Like, why didn't you tell your alliance what you were doing and why? Because I'm like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that you didn't let them know. Like, that's not trustworthiness. Why would they trust you at this point? So okay, so then Carson is worried for he and Cynthia because they are now the only ones who voted for Teddy to stay and for Todd to go. And not that they're having anything against Todd, but Teddy's was on their team. So no, they're like, well, shit, we're the odd two out, and on the wrong side of the house. So then Shayna tells, so then Shayna tells Misha and Chris Kirkpatrick, her dilemma with her team, right? With the remaining people in her team, and and Chris Kirkpatrick goes and tells the DR that let's the DR. Well, I'm pretty certain that this DR was done a while ago. We're just seeing it at this point. That Shayna, that he and Shayna have been working together since day two, and that um they decided they can have other alliances so that they can come back to each other and tell each other things, and work together, and that they are actually in a final two deal together. Okay, so Shayna and Chris Kirkpatrick are in a final two deal. Chris Kirkpatrick tells the DR. Okay, so Todrick tells Cynthia Bailey that he won't put her on the block if he wins the HOH. And Cynthia goes and tells the DR that she and Carson thought they were good with Todrick and thought they had a solid alliance. Um, so I'm thinking she's probably like, maybe she's wondering why would he tell her that. But okay, so Todrick is trying to do damage control with Cynthia and tells the DR that that he was doing what was best for his game. And Cynthia tells the DR that she isn't sure if she can trust Todrick anymore. I'm like, girl, no, because he voted the opposite way. He was in your alliance, and then you also got to. So yeah, like no, you can't. So anyway, so they're going out for the HOH competition, and Shayna is worried that she will get put up if Carson or Cynthia win the HOH. Okay, so this is a ball rolling competition, and it's with rotten potatoes being as the boards. You know, not real potatoes. So okay, so each slot on the board has a point number delegated to it, assigned to it, and the highest point value at the end of rolling all these balls to go into the slot on these potatoes, highest point value at the end wins. So Mariah goes first. Mariah gets a score of 51, and it says not very appealing. Okay, so then Todrick goes next, and is concerned revenge from Carson if Carson were to win. And his last ball hops out of place before he hits his buzzer. So he gets on he only gets a score of 36, and it says tater or not. And so then Lamar is next. He gets 61 points. So now he's in the lead. And Chris Kirkpatrick then goes and he gets 75 points. And Lamar says, man, did I really just lose a ball game to a pop star? So anyway, that was funny. And then Shayna scores 52. Carson Carson didn't lock in his scoring time on the last potato, and so therefore he only scored 36 points. Cynthia scored um, 46 points, and Todd Bridges comes out. He comes out because they weren't allowed to see. He comes out, so they weren't allowed to see everybody else do their stuff, but they see who's standing in the winner circle. Okay, so so Todd comes out and sees that Chris Kirkpatrick is in the winner circle and thinks he can throw it because he's like, oh, I have a friend who will be HOH if I don't win, and so he thinks he's throwing it, not being obvious. He thinks he's not being obvious throwing the competition because he's like, I'm just gonna throw this. But everyone on the sidelines is looking, they can tell that he is throwing it, and he got a 33. And Chris Kattan comes in, he does it last. And Carson is hoping that he wins because he's not in an alliance. He doesn't really understand the game. Uh, Carson's like, yeah, he don't understand the game. So he didn't lock in his score on his last potato, and it wouldn't have been enough anyway. Um, if he had he still wouldn't have won. And so Chris Kirkpatrick ends up winning the HOH. So Carson thinks Chris Kirkpatrick is teamed up with Misha, so he feels the need to butter up Kirkpatrick. Okay, so Misha is happy that Kirkpatrick is the HOH now because she feels that she'll be able to influence his decision on who to put up on the block. Chris Kirkpatrick goes down to Carson and Cynthia and tells them he is thinking of getting rid of Mariah. because he says that he's not really close to her and she's good at competitions. And Misha's not happy when he tells her this, and she tells Chris Kirkpatrick that she thinks he should put up Carson and Mariah, and if one goes down by a veto, then to put up Cynthia. So then Chris Kirkpatrick and Shayna leave the room to go and talk, and they discuss not liking. Wait. Okay, so he and Shayna leave the room and go and talk, and they discuss not liking her, trying to dominate his HOH. Okay, so Chris Kirkpatrick and Shayna leave, and they discuss Misha trying to dominate, not trying to like take over his HOH, and Chris Kirkpatrick starts to think of putting up Mariah and Todrick to take away his vote, and then Carson and Cynthia will be indebted to he and Shayna for not putting them up like Misha wants. Okay, following? Okay, so Chris Kirkpatrick lets Carson and Cynthia know that he's not listening to anyone telling them what to do and that he isn't targeting them. He figures he can let the two sides, Cynthia and Carson and Misha and Todrick, tear each other down and sit back and watch his way to the end without really getting involved. So, okay, so that's that. And so then Carson made a cake. So this is like just not game related, but everything's game, but it's not game related. Um, so so Carson makes a cake, and Chris Kattan, he likes to get up in the middle of the night and eat it straight out of the pan with a fork. Like, I don't think anybody else was eating that cake since he was like eating it out of the pan, like double dipping just with his fork, and he was doing that for a few nights. And that shit was hilarious to watch that. So okay, so then back to the game. Kirkpatrick talks to Lamar and Todd about who he should put up on the block with Mariah. And Lamar is cool with being a pawn to help. Todd tells Kirk, you tell people who you want to go, and we'll go from there. And Kirk decides it's better to use them as voters rather than nominees and pawns. Okay, so because he was thinking about using either of them as pawns, Lamar and Todd. So he's like, oh, maybe that'd be good for voters because they're willing to do whatever I ask, basically. So, all right. So then Chris and Misha are working out. You know, they're working out in the workout area, and Misha goes in on him and tries to convince him to put Carson up. He tells her he's not really a threat to him. He's like, he's not really a threat to me. And so then there's a nomination ceremony, and it's hosted by the HOH, Chris Kirkpatrick, and of course, he nominates Chris Kattan as his first nominee. Second nominee is Mariah. He says it's nothing personal, but that they haven't really talked game. And Chris Kirkpatrick goes and sells the DR that Chris Kattan is a pawn, and that his okay, so that Chris Kattan is a pawn, and so that is the end of episode 4. Okay, so now we're moving on to episode 5. Season 3, episode 5, Celebrity Big Brother, 2022. There we go. So after they do the recap, which they always do, okay, Julie introduces the live show, because this is a live show now, okay? And they start showing what happened after the nomination ceremony. Chris Kattan says to the DR that he is going to try and win the veto. Misha is still focused on getting Carson up and out, even though Kirkpatrick isn't really hearing that. Okay, Chris Kirkpatrick. I'm pretty certain you know when I say Kirkpatrick that I mean Chris Kirkpatrick, right? Because it's two Chris's. All right, Kattan and Kirkpatrick. And so, okay, so then Chris Kattan talks to Carson, and he is saying he doesn't think he did anything wrong. He's concerned. He's like, I didn't do. What did I do? I didn't do anything wrong. And Carson assures him that he didn't do anything wrong. Sounds like, why did I get put up? He's not understanding, because he doesn't know the game. He's never watched. Like, he doesn't know the game. And so Kirkpatrick, he doesn't know what pawns, he doesn't understand. So Kirkpatrick and Shayna are trying to straddle the fence between Carson and Cynthia, them, and Misha and Todrick on the other side. And Kirkpatrick says that if Misha takes Mariah off the block, there would be hell to pay. He don't want her to take Mariah down. And Misha and that but Misha wants Mariah to stay. Okay, Misha wants Mariah to stay. Now she's like Team Mariah all of a sudden. So Todrick wants Mariah to stay also because he thinks that she's a bigger target than himself. Okay, so Todrick also wants Mariah to stay. The next scene is them showing nighttime stuff. So it's nighttime. It's like fun shit again. Chris Kattan stumbling around in the pitch black, trying to get out of the room. And he can't see because it's like they say that it's like pitch black, like pitch black in there. They can't see. Well, we can see um on the feeds and stuff. We can see inside the rooms at night because of the cameras that they use. They cannot see, and it's just like he's probably looking. He's probably hopping up to either, well, of course, probably going to go pee or he's going to go grab some more cake. Like, for real. Like, okay, so the next scene is Shayden and Chris Kirkpatrick. They're in the HOH room doing spa beauty mask, and they're talking game, and they're discussing the veto and what's going to happen after. And Lamar then um, shares a bit about his son who passed away from SIDS at 6 months and a dream he had about him in his previous sleep cycle. Okay. Okay. So then that's that. And then Misha, Todrick, and Kirk are all in the storage room slash pantry talking about Mariah being his team member and putting her up instead of a good competitor. Carson, Kirkpatrick, uh, instead of a good competitor, i.e. Carson. I don't know. My notes here got a little fuzzy. Let me see. Kirk tells them, Kirk Kirkpatrick, Chris Chris Kirkpatrick, stop fucking Kirk. Chris Kirkpatrick tells them um, that she isn't his teammate. Oh, I remember. It was in the storage room. Misha, Todrick, and Chris Kirkpatrick were in the storage room talking about Mariah. And they're like, well, she's your team member, yada yada yada. She's and he's like, Chris Kirkpatrick is like, she's not my team member. Because I don't even know her. She never even spoke to me. And then Carson, and like, I'm like, touche, like, because Misha was sitting there just pulling people in, like, separately. And they're like, no, we're all in one alliance. And, like, I don't know her. I don't know him. And she don't know, like, it's like, Misha was just doing shit. That's why Todrick told me should stop talking. He told her in the very beginning, stop talking to people. As you talk to me first, you don't open your fucking dumbass mouth ever again in this house. Please and thank you. I mean, he didn't say it like that, but that's what he fucking said. So that's that. Okay. And so that was, he was like, she's not my teammate. I never spoke to her. And so he starts thinking about putting Misha and Todrick up as a replacement if Mariah comes down because he's thinking about putting Mariah up. Okay, so he's he's like, I'm over them trying to manipulate me. He's tired of them trying to manipulate him and change his mind on this stuff because it's like, no, I'm my own person and I believe what I believe. I know what I know. Okay, so the live video competition is based. Okay, so the video competition is going to be live, and it's based around the Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson movie called Marry Me. So the POV comp, that's a Power of Veto, has Todrick, Shayna, and Cynthia playing, as well as both Chris's and Mariah. So Chris Kirkpatrick, Chris Kattan, and Mariah. They have to spot so they have to, it's like a visual competition. They have to spot which section of the crowded picture has a Marry Me sign. So it's like, sections of signs. People sending with signs. It's like, well, what sign? The segment is in A, B, or C. Okay, so with somebody holding a sign saying "Marry Me." Kirkpatrick does horribly. Todrick and Shayna tie and have to do a tiebreaker, rounding to the nearest hour of how long was something, whatever question. Todrick got close but went over, and Shayna was not close at all, but was under, so she won because you can go under, can't go over, and if you both go over, then it's whoever's closest wins. So she went under, so she won. And so she has the excuse me, power of veto. And I don't think she was trying to guess super low at strategy, but I could be. I think that she's just dumb. But I could be wrong. The veto ceremony also takes place live, and Shayna decides to leave the nominations the same. So then it's time for the live vote and the eviction. Chris Kattan goes first into the diary room to vote, and he tells and he says that he's aware he's not a good player, and that he's ready to go. Oh wait. Chris Kattan. He goes first for his speech. He lets them know. He's like, look, I'm not a good player. I'm ready to go. Mariah should stay. He's like, I don't want to be here. And so then Mariah goes next, and she says Chris Kattan was one of her dearest friends there, and that they have both been so lonely in that house, and that everybody in the house is much older than her, and that she is emotional, and that's why she's a great skater, and that she played defensively, and that she watched the cookout with eyes of inspiration. And I'm not sure exactly what she was talking about. I know she was talking about the last season of Big Brother, which was, like the cookout. But I'm like, I was like, she's talking about the show? On the show? Or she's talking about the movie, The Cookout? Because they didn't like each other too much last season on Big Brother. And they worked together for a greater cause. And she just called everybody old. And I found out later that bitch is like 30 years old. Bitch, you ain't that much. You just look young because you don't age until you like 60. Then you start looking 100. You not young. You are not young. You are the same age as some of them people. Like, stop fucking playing around. Just because you've been sheltered don't mean you're young. Grow the fuck up and stop trying to shade people. I didn't appreciate that shit at all. But anyway, okay, that's that. So then it was time for the evictions. And Cynthia voted to evict Mariah. Misha voted to evict Mariah. Carson voted to evict Mariah. Lamar chose to evict Mariah. Todrick voted to evict Mariah. Todrick voted to evict Mariah. Ty voted to evict Mariah. And Shayna voted to evict Mariah. So then it was unanimous. Mariah was gone. Okay. So then Julie announces the results, and Mariah hugs everybody graciously, saying thank you to everyone. And then Mariah goes out to Julie and tells her she couldn't relate to anyone in the house and had never been the only Asian American in the room in her life. And Julie says that she has been, because Julie is, Asian American. She's like, well, I have been. She's like, but I've been older than you. But that would mean, to me, that would just make it it would make less sense for somebody young to not be and somebody older. You know what I'm saying? Like, the older you are, the more biases you might have because you haven't experienced shit. The younger you are, the more shit you would have experienced, especially as times change, climates change. How in the hell you 30 years old? You never been in a room where you're only Asian American in the fucking room. And Julie Chen, who's 45, 60, 45, 50, has. That doesn't make, granted, of course, Julie Chen, because, she's in the positions that she's in. She's in, showbiz and stuff. But damn it, this doesn't make no sense to me. And Mariah, I like Mariah. Other than when I first saw her, and I would have that, implicit bias, and I did. Everybody has them. I had it before I saw her, and then she did this, and she did this. She said this stupid shit, and I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And I have Asian friends, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, like, how they be like, oh, we hate, as black people hate when people say, oh, I have a black friend, I have a black friend. I actually do. I have always had, and I still do. I've had, not the same ones, but, from when I was little, but I have always had Asian friends or whatever, Hispanic, black, white. I have friends who I'm friends with. I don't go by color. I go by people. So that was just ignorant to me. And yes, I have a right to say what I want to say and be angry that she sounds ignorant. And if I sound ignorant to you, then that's just whatever. I don't give a fuck. Say something in the comments and I'll respond. Maybe I'll clean something up. Maybe I'll go back and say, oh, well, this is what I said. This is not what I meant. I don't know. But from what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, I'm making pretty good sense to myself as I'm saying it. And I'm gonna get off that. Okay. So then let me go back to my notes because I just went on a tangent because it made me angry. Like, you felt ostracized? You felt you was loved. Like you was, I don't know. Maybe she didn't feel the love. Maybe she didn't feel the love. But she was she was protected. Like she was not, obviously not that great because she was out week 2, second person out. But I don't know. 30 years old and you're talking about, I don't know. And he was in the Olympics. Like, you would, I don't know. Anyway, she goes out to Julie. She tells her that. And Julie says that she hasn't been. And I was stunned, like I just said. I've been the only black in many rooms many times. And I never thought of it like that. Like, oh, I'm the only black person. I mean, I know that there's that game where people play in white areas. Oh, cause black people, yada yada. But that's just like for fun. I was like, that's not like, I don't really think like that. And I've worked at companies where I was the only black person who worked there at all. Period. And and I don't know. It's just, I know a lot of my black friends have also, and like Hispanic friends who have worked in places where they were the only Hispanic. Like, it is what it is sometimes. It's like, that doesn't mean that there's, I don't know. It's whatever. Maybe, I don't know. It, anyway, that's the end of that episode. And we're going to be moving on to number 6 next. Number 6 next. Number 6 next. Leave something in the comments. Thumbs up or down if you don't like it. If you made it this far, I would hope you have liked it because you watched this far. Please give a thumbs up. If you don't like it, just put it in the comments what you didn't like. You can have a discussion. I'm not opposed to having discussions. And that's that. There, I am the official Carla Lorraine, and I'll see ya on the next one. I will, I will, I will. Thumbs up, subscribe, comment.